Hello everyone and welcome back to another history of Overwatch. We're moving on from the 2020 season and we're moving into 2021. So we didn't watch the grand finals. It just, as much as it was the best grand finals we've ever had, it still wasn't that interesting. We had the hog stuff, we watched the playoffs meta. I think that sort of gives an idea of what happened in that 2020 season. Moving into 2021, this was a much better season than 2020 in general. We sort of did a good adjustment to online play. We actually had the 4 tournaments in place, but going into it, hero pools now only happens every off season. So first stage, no hero pools. Second stage had hero pools. Third stage, no hero pools. Fourth stage had hero pools. Finals, no hero pools. And that just kept the game fresh without having so much changing like we had in 2020. And it made it just a much more consistent season. A lot of teams made a lot of changes, and who we know was good and bad is sort of consistently changing. I don't know how much I really want to talk about at this point. I guess we can sort of talk about the big changes going into the season. The Los Angeles Valiant, going into the 2021 season, dropped their entire roster like a month before the season began and then filled it with whoever would sign with a Chinese team, and they were just hot garbage for the entire season. They did not win a single match. They won very few maps throughout the season, and it just was really ugly. We had the London Spitfire and the Vancouver Titans also struggling. They both won a match by the end of the season, but they did not really look good. I think they went 1-15, both of them. There were only 16 matches in the entire season, or regular season matches, and both of them won 1. Boston Uprising also pretty heavily struggled throughout the season, but yeah, it was kind of sad because Vancouver and London were kind of like free wins for a lot of the middle and high end packs, and Los Angeles Valiant also just like, I don't think anyone watched Valiant matches. I watched like the first couple and then I would just like skim through them after that because they were just so boring. Valiant was never going to win. The question was, are they going to cap a point rather than are they going to win a map, especially towards the end of the season? It was ugly. Let's actually go to the regular season just so we look at who cares about spoilers, so we can have a look here. Florida Mayhem actually had a really good start to the season. In the May Melee, the match that we're going to watch today is the Houston Outlaws versus San Francisco Shock in the May Melee. And we are also going to watch the finals of the May Melee, where we saw the Dallas Fuel take on the Shanghai Dragons. But Florida Mayhem actually had a really good May Melee and then just like hard shut the bed. They just were not very good after this, but they actually had a good first stage with it was like the Winston Tracer stuff, right? If I remember correctly, which, we're into the Florida Mayhem wheelhouse. Dallas Fuel ended the cycle of misery, having their first successful season. They win the May Melee. They are consistently good throughout the year. They didn't do that well in the grand scheme of the playoffs at the end, but they were pretty solid. Atlanta Reign is starting to have a good amount of success, playing heavily around their shield tanks. San Francisco Shock, who we will talk about more in this match, had their first pretty off season since 2018. Slipping up. They were still good, and they were still, top 6. They still made playoffs. They still made it to Hawaii, I believe. Did they make it to Hawaii? Did Shock ever make it to Hawaii other than the playoffs? No? Oh, okay. Didn't make it to the playoffs very often, but they were always in contention, it felt like. So they were like consistently like 5th, 6th. And that's where they ended in the regular season. Washington Justice was storied to have an incredible season, but they just did not. They completely turned their roster around. With the signings of, Mag, they have Decay actually played the DPS for them now. They have Fury coming in. They had a couple of good rookies, an Assassin. Tuba, actually, had a really good 2020 playoff, so there was some excitement about them, but really did not live up to the hype. They were good, especially in the May Melee, but just didn't live up to that hype. A lot of us were putting them top 3, top 4, but they really, finished middle of the pack. And that's really... Oh, and Houston Outlaws are pretty solid, and I think that's a good segue into this match. So, San Francisco Shock going up against the Houston Outlaws. So let's talk about both of these teams as we just start watching into this. Where are we at? So... The things were, Tayo's in this first map? That doesn't happen Hydration's in on this map? Okay, I don't remember exactly what happens in in this match. I'm starting to question everything I thought I knew. So for the Houston Outlaws, They have Piggy and Django, who really are the stars of the show in this match and for a lot of the rest of the season. They are this new Korean tank duo that came in, and both are incredibly solid and really led to a lot of the success of the Houston Outlaws throughout the season. They acquired Happy from the Guangzhou Charge, who had a very good season. Crimzo came in and I think is actually a very solid Western flex support, really holds his own on the flex support. We have Juby, who was a rookie main support coming in from North American Contenders, who was hyped up, but actually didn't get to play that much. Very strong as a Lucio player, but it wasn't really a Lucio season. And struggling on the Brig and the Mercy, it felt like Jake actually came in to play that role from time to time, switching off of the DPS. Hydration actually doesn't play much this season. Their DPS lineup for most of the season was Dante Happy, if I'm right, correct? But Hydration is in for this map. So I don't really remember that. Hydration doesn't play much throughout the season. So this is the Houston Outlaws, and this is the first time they're really having, like, it feels like a well-rounded roster. Ever since, like, in 2018, they had some success, but then they crashed and burned in 2019, 2020. This is really when they've taken out all the old bones, all the old coaching, management, all that kind of stuff, and they're really starting to put together a great team. And then obviously 2022, we're really excited for what they've completely produced. But let's move on to the San Francisco Shock, a team that we've highlighted a lot throughout the 2021 and 2020 season. 2020 and 2019 season. But this is really where we first started seeing major overhauls to their roster. They have Nero as an addition, FD God as an addition, and Glister as an addition to the San Francisco Shock. They are a good roster. Like, actually, let's actually look at them as a whole so we can really get a look for it. So it's Arns, Tayo, Nero, Glister, Smurf, Super Chokyobin, FD God, Violet, Twilight. So they've lost Moth, who went to the Gladiators, and they lost... Arns actually retires at the beginning of the season, so is not available... He was at the beginning of the season, right? And he comes back, and Striker retires as well. I don't know if Striker had retired just yet. I'm pretty sure Arns was retired at the start of the season and comes back. Striker starts the season and then leaves. So that's what you need to remember about this roster. They have Tayo, who didn't really play much coming into this season. They have Glister, who was acquired from the London Spitfire. But if you're confused about who was where, what was happening, join the club, because we're just getting started. There is, I don't know what happened, but Krusty was off the goop this season because there was some really weird things that happened. With Arns retiring, they had a hit scan opening. Glister came in to sort of fill that role, but really struggled. Striker wasn't always playing the Tracer, and Glister was forced in to play the Tracer. I think you see that in this game, actually, in particular. Violet would be switching off of flex support and actually went to play the hit scan over Glister at certain times. So then FD God didn't really like FD God on the main support because he was a Lucio player that didn't really want to play the Brig. So then they started playing Violet and Twilight as double flex support, and Violet started playing the Brig, and then we got some Violet Lucio, which was awful. Try not to watch that. It looked like he had just been thrown into the role. It's honestly a really messy season from the San Francisco Shock, and this match is really the first, I guess, look that we get from them where we're like, ooh, this Shock doesn't look like the two-time champions that we know and love. A lot of people like to blame Nero, like to blame FD God, like to blame Glister, these new players coming in. But honestly, a lot of their veterans were really struggling. The tank line really not having that same level of impact we know from them. Maybe they just weren't as comfortable with the rest of the team around them. There was some weird switches. There was some weird subs. It just felt like they never got their footing, and that's why they had a fine season. But if you ask a San Francisco Shocks fan, they think they came 20th. And it did feel like a massive fall from grace. And we're going to get into that when we look at it here. So let's start getting into the match. I've been talking for a long time. Well, let's start to get into a look of it. That is a good point that Ark and the Wines brings up. The Shock did lose a lot of their coaches. They lost both Junkbuck and Chat, 9K, they lost both Junkbuck and 9K, two great assistant coaches that led them to these victories in 2019 and 2020. They lost both of those coaches and they went to get Arachne. They lost all of these coaches to other teams. You know, obviously they're very successful in the Shock, but they want to branch out. They want to be their own head coaches. They want to have their own success. So they ended up splitting up. And you really saw that, I guess, coaching diff come in from certain times. 9K was gone in 2020? Oh yeah, maybe it was.
So Jungkook and Piggy, should I say, had a tough matchup against the Dallas Fuel tank line.
This is against Junkbuck? Yeah, Junkbuck actually did go to the Houston Outlaws, and I believe in 2021, Junkbuck...
We get Piggy on ball here. This will be
cool. Is Junkbuck a co-head coach with Harsher at this point, or was that 2020? With the Houston Outlaws. Am I right?
Players play for the Guangzhou Charge last year. They both come over. That's
9K coach Paris in 2020, yeah. No, it's this year? Okay, so right now they have co-head coaches with Junkbuck and Harsher right now. And I believe... Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Jake is kind of a player coach at this point for the Houston Outlaws as well. He doesn't get a lot of play time other than when he plays main support, but he's sort of doing a bit that. Alright, so let's talk about the meta. In 2021, there was a lot of Brawl played. Obviously, this is a big Brawl map, but especially at the start, there was a lot of Brawl and then zombie comps with like Lucio and Moira's with Winstons. But then we transitioned into that Wrecking Ball, Briggs, and stuff. But a lot of teams, especially in North America, like to play this Brawl team. And both of these teams were very, very good at it. Houston Outlaws and the San Francisco Shock. Obviously, the Shock have Super. They were great at GOATs. They're still holding on to a lot of that. But Houston Outlaws had some good stuff. Django was a great Rhine. And you're going to see that in this match. And really sort of proved a point. Hydration's out of Ryan jail, yeah, but Hydration's very much like a silly hero specialist on the Doomfist, the Pharahs, the Junkrats, and all that kind of stuff. So Hydration getting massive impact on the Doom in the first map. Yeah, the fans really wanted me to watch this match. Well, Houston fans wanted me to watch this match because we've watched a lot of Shock, but Super just got rolled. I wonder if he didn't expect the shatter. Look at this. I wonder if he doesn't expect the oh my god, I'm so bad. I wonder if he doesn't expect the shatter with when the window goes down. So he drops the window, and I just don't think he... Oh, actually, maybe Django sees that Super is going to go for the Fire Strike through the window and just instantly shatters. You see, let's look at that again, right? So they drop the window. As soon as the window goes down, he knows that Super is going to Fire Strike. So then he shatters when Super goes for the Fire Strike. Actually, really smart play by Django there. Maybe he didn't think he had the shadow at this point. Django Ryan diff. Yeah, Django had a really good... Django and Piggy had a really good series in this match. And that was really like the Houston Outlaws fans getting really hyped.
We're just not ready for it. And although it might have been a trademark line from Super, the MTD right now rests on the side of Jungkook and the Outlaws. Slow start in this map from Tayo, of course. That Symmetra foray didn't work that well. Here's a Deadeye from Happy. Look,
oh my god, how does FD God and Super die this? And I actually think this is a consistent theme that we see throughout Shock, throughout the entire season, right? Is that they just... especially Violet, even when he's not playing the hit scan DPS, Violet made a lot of mistakes in this season. In the playoffs on the Baptiste, just getting picked, getting isolated, dying for almost what it feels like no reason. The cleanliness that the Shock used to have and were known for just kind of fell out the window this season. Lots of mistakes. FD God did struggle very heavily, with just getting picked in the same way.
Riptide doesn't look nearly as good with the sound barrier in play, but Nero's still able to find Hydration. Super wins the frontline duel finally.
And on the Cassidy, yeah, and the Violet Cassidy. Violet Cassidy was actually pretty nice. Like, he actually had a really good match on the Cassidy early on in the season. But I think, for me, the problem that Violet seemed to have is it felt like the entire team was spreading him so thin. He was playing Hitscan, he was playing Lucio, he was playing Brig, he was playing so many different heroes that it felt like when it came for him to play, oh my god, good shatter. It felt like when he was forced to play the heroes that he was supposed to play, he wasn't able to play it to the standard that we know him for. People were so harsh with FD God for barely talked about when Violet fitting. Exactly. It's the same thing with Nero. I actually think Nero was one of the most solid and consistent players for the San Francisco Shock in the season. His May was good. I thought he was solid, but people just, it felt like they just chose the new players to choose as the problem because they weren't around when they were successful.
And he's able to get one with his Deadeye, and you thought that maybe like panic would set in and things would kind of fall apart, but
like, I think Nero was really good, but he kind of gets lumped in of the new players are the problem. Hi, Hydration Doofus. Oh my god, Hydration's just so nasty at these heroes. With Nero and Kai, Atlanta has the two best orbs in the world. Atlanta's DPS lineup going into this year is really good. Nero, Kai, Speedily, and Venom. Like, people like Venom's a Tracer one trick. It's like, fuck it. If they only need a Tracer one trick, who cares? They got everyone else marking everything else off. If like we're in a hard Tracer meta, just play Venom. And then when Speedily comes of age, like honestly, they're just so stacked.
Tank's gonna get to the choke. It's huge. There's no chance that the Shock win that fight.
Choi Hyobin was ridiculous this year. Choi was good this year, but Choi was not as ridiculous as he was in previous years. Choi wasn't the problem. Like, I don't think you could ever say that Choi was the problem, but Choi had a lot more impact in previous seasons. Obviously, it's hard to have impact when your team is struggling, but I don't think you can say that Choi was hard popping off. Cursor on the screen. Oh yeah. What the fuck? Get out of here. 15k, Mr. Streamer. Hey, I think it's a reasonable take. I'm a Choi stan. You guys know me. I love me some Choi. But good wall. Like, fuck. 1 second. Like, how does Shock get isolated? Like, where are their wall? Where's their wall? Like, I'm kind of curious to know where Shock's wall was. That was a great wall by Hydration. Like, that's how they get that kill, right? Force them all left.
Symmetra in these types of compositions, you know, great mobility with the teleporter to be able to get to the point. The turrets are just
poor Tayo, yeah. Tayo, I do feel bad for Tayo because this is like, does Tayo play much after this match? I feel like Tayo gets like hard bullied in this match and then he just never plays again. Is this his only match? Dude never got a fair shake. Yeah, okay, let me play devil's advocate to the Tayo thing of like, I feel like if he got given the opportunity in this season, I assumed he was scrimming, he's getting match time. Maybe he just didn't cut the mustard. It's impossible to know from a distance, but like, I feel like Shock is a big team, especially Shock. Like, it feels like they give whoever is the best at the role the opportunity to play it, right? That's why they put Violent on DPS. Super's come out and talked about how like everyone gets their fair shot to scrim and play. Like, I don't know, maybe it's hard to know really what went wrong with Tayo. Striker apparently refused to play with Tayo, really? Yeah, like as I said, we don't know exactly what happens. That kind of politics and drama could easily be something that you don't know. But if something doesn't make sense and someone usually doesn't get their fair shake and like Tayo's been around for a while, there's usually a reason that you don't know. It's hard to give second chances. That's good. Hey, that's a great point by Dead Optics as well, right? It's not like Tayo is playing on a team where it's like, why aren't you playing Tayo? Tayo's on a DPS lineup at this point, right? With Glista, Nero, and Striker. It's like, it's hard to find places to put Tayo in. And as you said, give him multiple opportunities in matches. It's not like he's on a team where he has his role and no one else really plays that. There are other people that play the heroes that Tayo play and have more experience on, right? He's on Sim, yeah. Like, I think the Sim May is really the only few times that you would really see him play because I don't think Striker plays that much Sim or May. And same with, well, I guess Glista maybe could, but yeah. I keep forgetting I'm watching this live, not on VOD. Now I can take down the fools with the bad takes live and in color. Hell yeah. Thank you for the 200 best jingle nuts. On Team Symmetry, if they would be any different. And that's it. You know, I think there are a ton of players who maybe didn't get their fair share and they could have been great. They were playing under another great player, right? Like, you know, Trill for the Dallas Fuel under OG. He just never played because that happened. There's a bunch of players that are very much like that where the team was so stacked that it was hard to justify playing a less experienced player.
see for Trigo, and Super fares hardly.
Oh, sheesh. Trigo rolled.
Squishing him up against the wall. This will be the Outlaws back in control in San Francisco.
To me, the weirdest thing is the Shock almost never tried FD God in Twilight. Yeah, and I don't know how much like merit there is to the people that said this of like Violet. People said that like Violet has it in his contract that he has to play every map. I very much doubt that is ever a thing. That sounds like something that someone just made up and people just ran with. That I don't think anyone would ever allow that to be in their contract, but it does feel like Shock, the one piece that they ever refuse to take out is Violet and Choi to a degree, but why would you ever take out Choi, right? They did take him out at one point, right? Like in stage 2? Stage 3? But he did get taken out from time to time. But like in the first stage in May Melee, it did feel like they were hard forcing Violet into the lineup.
This gives time for the Outlaws to regroup, to breathe. Hydration comes out of the ice block immediately under pressure from Super.
Twilight's sick, but he wasn't mistake-free either. Yeah, but like I think Twilight was the best support player. Ooh! Let's watch that back because this is a significant moment in Overwatch League history. If you're a Super fan, look at Super's face when he gets hit by this shatter. What? Super was very mad about that one. People say it was a ping difference, but yeah, and that would not surprise me. Yeah, it is worth noting this. Everything is being played online, so there is high ping, not super high ping. Like they're both all in North America, but you know I think they're playing on like 50 ping and stuff like that. Now we know why he retired. But Houston Outlaws gets the first map, and this becomes a consistent theme of like the Houston Outlaws were able to take Shock toe to toe on the brawl.
Sensational play, and you know all he did, Matt? He walked up the bridge and just threw down the.
All right, actually, we gotta watch this.
My heart. Overwatch League and T-Mobile.
With Overwatch 2 potentially coming up, and there potentially being drops, I think it's important to give this PSA to everyone. Because I don't know if it'll be played again, and it's an art piece.
I'm Matt Morello. The Overwatch League and T-Mobile have given me this time to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. Overwatch League Perks by T-Mobile. Perks are a special bonus for tuning into the Overwatch League and are a fun way to earn in-game rewards while watching your favorite Overwatch League teams compete. This year, you'll also earn great perks like skins and sprays for tuning into tournament weekends. But lately, there's been a dark scourge on our channel. Spamming the chat with exclamation point drops and exclamation point tokens does not in fact earn you any Overwatch League perks. The way to earn Overwatch League perks is by clicking down below and connecting your YouTube account to your Battle.net account. It's just that easy.
It's just that easy.
Or a loved one feel the urge to spam exclamation point drops or exclamation point tokens in the Overwatch League chat, stop it. Get some help.
Stop
right
it.
Here.
Get some help.
You can start earning Overwatch League perks.
That's my favorite line.
Right now. Don't blow it. I'm Matt Mr. X Morello. Thank you for watching.
Requires Overwatch. Senders must be redeemed in-game on or before 12/31/2021.
Ah, good times. You guys remember when we had sponsors? Those were the good days. You guys remember when we had money?
We'll see what we get here from the San Francisco Shock.
Bitch, calm down.
They appear to be starting on the attacking side, and Matt, they looked furious at the end of that map. Super looked like steam was coming out of his ears.
Kind of what I think that point A and then win that fight right after by the choke, and you get control of the high ground.
Was that another Hex script? Yeah, Hex had a lot of scripts and stuff like that.
Especially where the defenders
which is awesome.
When you unlock that payload.
This is a bang around. Honestly, the match was really good.
Gallery for the hit scan players up on the high ground. So
Custa can sponsor our, yeah. If you guys all Twitch Prime right now, we could sponsor Overwatch League and we could get them to say anything we wanted. Maybe what we could do is we could have our own sponsored segment called Hot Take segment. The Wobblers Hot Takes. And what we would do is we would all vote on the best hot take and we would just put it at the start of a match.
We'll be empowered.
We could do that.
Switches as the map goes. It really depends on what the Shock are playing. If they sort of persist with a composition that features sort of
Daddy Panda, thank you for the fresh sub. Loads of toads, Overwatch Prime sub. See, we're this much closer to having our own segment.
The Outlaws actually have a couple of the progenitors of the newer DPS heroes on their team.
And then if we get big enough, we can buy our own team and sign Jimmy. Think about all the players we could sign to our team. We'll get like Jimmy, we'll get Tayo, We'll sign Linksa. Who else do we like? Who else do we want on our team? We'll get Shaw for. Let's do it. Maybe we'll give XQC an offer. We'll get Mano in. Kariv, yeah. Jerry. Yeah, okay. We've got a team, okay, chat. We're good idea flowing. We just got to raise a couple of $1 million and we can get there. Damn, how does Piggy lose mech that early?
Here's the Amp Matrix. This is just for Violet. This is such a classic
Custa? Hell no. I want my team to win.
Dante goes down to the signature aggression of FD God, and he makes it too. Happy falls to his hand.
I, as general manager, am deciding to sub myself into our team after we go 0-7 in the season. I'm gonna sub myself in. I think that's the only solution.
It felt like the first 45 seconds of the map.
We have Jimmy Chayo GPS line. We ain't winning. What do you mean?
This is what I was talking about. Taking control of this high ground, getting control of this bridge. If you can take this position, it makes it very difficult for the Outlaws.
Alright, easy first cap by the shock.
They have to wrap all the way around.
Player, coach, GM, owner. That sounds like a good tile. That looks good on the resume. That's all I'm saying.
When FD God is on the prowl, he'll just deny the high ground. He'll knock people off more than happily. The Outlaws play together as a group here. Deadeye from Happy. And this is
Speed High Noon? Oh god, Violet. Like, and this is like, that's another, like, once again, Violet gets like heavily isolated from the rest of the team.
This might require a sound barrier from FD God.
So, we didn't talk about the subs, but Dante comes in to play the Mei over Hydration. Because Dante's, I think, more of the Mei player, while Hydration comes in to play the Doom. I'm pretty sure Dante just killed Django. Look at this wall by Dante. Literally, he's like, Django's getting frozen, can potentially be saved by Crimzo. He has a window, and Dante just puts up a wall so nobody can help Django. Dante, what the fuck, man? Wait, Juby beated? What? I don't know about this fight by the Outlaws. Also, Striker came in for Tayo.
It looked like the Shock weren't wanting to invest too much, but then the Blizzard from Nero came in. It looked like there wasn't enough follow-up on Junggu. He eventually fell, and then the carry turned up. Violet just rocked up, and almost his aura signaled his presence before physically he was seen.
Who's Juby's replacement? Jake. Jake came in to be the Brig player. Jake has a lot of experience playing the Brig from the Goats days. So Jake came in to play Brig, but then we also got some Juicio, and we got some Jersey. I feel like they heavily value Jake's calling, but yeah. The Drig was good. Jake's Brig was very good. You can't deny it. That's a good bomb by Choi. That was a great bomb by Choi. It just like isolated so many. Ooh, shadow on FD God.
FD God gets caught on the left-hand side, but Super definitely returns and gets that shield where it needs to be. Happy finds Violet once more, and it was a decent shatter from Super, but again, the Batiste really would help to follow
Happy? Hello? Where did Happy come from?
Shatter from Super, but again, the Batiste really
what the fuck?
Happy's gonna fall to the hammer of
Happy, you good?
As are the rest of the Shock.
Oh, that was about to be a fat high noon.
Value out of the Deadeye was Super falling.
It's huge for Happy to be able to get Violet, and he keeps taking these off angles, looking for him.
Should be said that Jake played Zero Lucio as he found it really. No, Jake definitely played Lucio. Should be said, Jake plays Zero Lucio, found... Well, and... Okay, this is the PSA, right? Like, Lucio is a very difficult character to learn because it just takes a lot of time to learn to get there mechanically. But Jake definitely played a little bit of Lucio. Like, it wasn't much. I could have sworn Jake played Lucio at a... Like, at least a couple of times. It was very rare, but I could have sworn we saw some Juicio. I remember the Jersey. But I could have sworn the Juicio. Maybe to stall. You may be right. Yo, fortunately for the 9 months. They weren't planning on playing Lucio. Yeah. Like they tried to avoid playing Lucio when Jake was in. I think they played Juby if they ever wanted to play Lucio. And the reason that needed to be a PSA, by the way, was because there is a lot of flex supports who are expected to play Lucio in this upcoming season. I'm a little worried. I feel like some of them might get it, but I can totally see some people not getting it being a problem. Good block by Super. Oh, actually, no, he didn't block it.
Fortunate enough that the Outlaws can't
Oh, God. Oh, that's a good... Oh, nice Matrix by Choi.
Get rid of that shield. It doesn't work out. That's the immortality field used by the Shock, but they've lost Violet and Nero.
This is such a hard spot to push as Brawl.
And Super wants to push forward, but he's running out of health and only has the Lucio for healing. No burst healing available, and that Amp Matrix for the Outlaws is going to make things impossible for San Francisco.
And the Outlaws don't want to push. They back Super up here with an E guy.
Happy's playing dumb aggressive right now. Oh, you went Widow? I do not like the Widow switch by Happy. I do not like this switch at all. If he doesn't get, like, at least one pick early on in the fight, they're just not going to have enough damage.
Yeah, it means Happy probably just playing down.
By Vex Sports, he means Violet. It's Violet, Lastro, and either Gangnam Jin, or Myeonbong. Those are the three teams that don't have Lucio players.
And they need info on where Happy is. They know where he is now.
You do lose a lot of shield pressure, though. Not having McCree.
Alright, Shock gets high ground. Yeah, like Happy, I guess he's slowing them down. Oh yeah, well, as I said, as long as he kills someone, it's fine pick. Super pins Django. Oh, and he gets Violet. Okay, well, that'll do it. Are they gonna get the cat? Like, just look at how much damage Strike is doing, right? Like, that's... Is he gonna throw the mail? Yeah, he is. It's a good mail. Does that catch Super? Does Super get frozen? No. Oh. Yeah, the spawn's just too close.
They've got the players back now, and Chokobin goes in alone, while the rest of the Shock get out, but Nero's found Happy.
Ball to extreme teams with Lucio players will actually play them. Well, yeah, like we could... The point could be completely redundant and we go into the season and Lucio isn't meta. But what do we do if the Lucio is meta? And you're trying to go for a championship like the Shock, like the Houston Outlaws, and all of a sudden you don't have a Lucio player that can play to the caliber of the high-end teams that you need to, right? That's why we're being very and overly critical of these decisions.
Can't let Happy find another pick.
Violet must stay alive here. Picked in the last fight by Happy. The Shock cannot afford to lose 60-70% of their healing in one headshot.
Shock has Violet. Yeah, what? Do you like the Violet Lucio?
Is able to distract him for a time, but that's all he gets. Here's that amplification matrix now, and Django is trying to get rid of Chokobin, who's very, very low, but that's the Blizzard down.
Good beat by Juby, and Django's still dead.
Gets frozen up, and the San Francisco Shock might have found their way through.
Violet Lucio is the best flex support Lucio. You're only saying that because he's the only one you've seen play it. And we watched him play it in 2021, and it wasn't very good. It was fine, but it was not good, right? And that's the difference. It needs to be better than fine.
No immortality field, no main wall. As I believe Dante was pretty low, forced around the corner, and at that point they just move on.
Like we actually watched maps of Violet Lucio, and he just doesn't have high impact.
To complete the map, this is a very difficult portion of the map. Is Happy not going back?
Like maybe I can totally see Violet coming out with a really good Lucio in 2022 because he's obviously a talented player, but he needs to put a lot of work into it, and that's the thing of like if he has put that work in. Oh, I see. Dude, Dante is in no man's land.
Amplification matrix now means that Super's in a bit more of a precarious position. Still pushes forward. Oh, what a psycho. The Shock go past the amplification matrix now with a sound barrier. And what a play. I don't think the Outlaws were ready for this.
Oh, nice shout out by Super. That was pretty well played by the Shock.
The Shock forge onward, and now the card is awfully close with 25 seconds.
Yeah, like Happy not wanting to play Cassidy, I think is really hurting them. Like I feel like the Cassidy is just the best pick. Oh, he got booped.
He's knocked away, and the Shock finished the map with time to spare. Let's hear from the Shock right now.
Has he talked about GB Lucio? Yeah.
Don't scream. Don't scream. No need. Yeah. Believe him. I'm not panicked. Good. That's good. Let's go.
Juby was fine. Like the thing is, Juby's Lucio I don't think was ever a problem. Like because Juby is a good Lucio player. The bigger problem with Juby was considered his brig play. That's one of the main reasons he got taken out is because of his brig. Wait, what's this? FD God Lucio play? Let's have a look. Do you think Striker's cast competes with Arns? Yeah, like Striker used to be a really good Cassidy.
Five final blows, I think.
It's just different.
4.
He will still be looking for as many off angles as possible.
Striker is a hit scan player, yeah, but like The thing about Striker that I always like to hit home is Striker was a good hit scan. Like he was one of the better ones in 2018 and 2019, right? When he did have to play some of the hit scan, all that kind of stuff. But the hit scan, think about the hit scans that we have now compared to what we had in 2018 and 2019, right? Like we're on a different level. And that's my fear about Boston is like, has Striker been consistently improving with the same level that everyone else has? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question.
Very close brawl, but the Hanzo's going to be able to deal a ton of damage to the shields, maybe get an immortality field out early.
Victoria, yeah, like Victoria could totally play the hit scan, right? Like, is Victoria going to play over,
Yeah, he has
is Victoria going to play over Striker? Like, we don't know.
You see the position that it's put the shock in. Basically,
Well, let's say Striker is best at Tracer. 100% Tracer. Striker was the best Tracer in 2020 and 2019. No doubt.
Angle puts so much pressure on the shock, it forces them to play inside of a shoebox here on point A, and he still gets the kill, despite how careful San Francisco were trying to be. Here's the trade in the front light now. That's at
2018, he was top 3. Yeah, like he was definitely in the top in 2018 as well.
Violet 2 has a window up.
Who was best in 2018? Sabiolbi and
Hanzo, it doesn't work out, and
it's like Sabiolbi, Striker, and
if the Hanzo can
I'm trying to think of who the other Tracer was. Who was?
keep the shot,
Yeah, Prophet probably. Yeah.
where they don't
Like those were like the three amigos who were all like the best at Tracer.
you like their chances with the Hanzo in the mix.
He must not be named. Nah, sorry, he wasn't that good in 2018.
With the mob, if the shot
Obviously, his team wasn't very good, but yeah.
the Dragon really did players.
So Soon was good. Soon was good, but I don't think he was on the same level as those guys. I think Soon I've played against him and with him. He is an annoying player to play with against, but he doesn't have that like, I don't think he ever had that like same like individual pop-off level that you got from those other three.
It splits super away and even claims the free.
But yeah, Soon literally ruined my life in certain games that I played against him.
Embarrassed. They're out in the open without any clothes on. It could be a disaster, but the immortality field keeps
Wobble,
them
wobble,
standing.
motherfucker.
Sadman, thank you very much for the Prime Gaming.
Way back, but that card's still moving. Now San Francisco.
I don't really know how I feel about that shock flank all the way around the coast.
But Happy works his way back through on this right-hand side. He's in.
I don't really know if that was a good play. They like lost the card and now they're getting so much. If they lose this fight, they're going to lose so much positioning.
Wants a rematch.
Oh, that was a great boop.
He gets Crimso's immortality field with that and is able to get back into the bot and the kill on Crimso. Oh, Joy Yeoman.
Choice. Stop it.
Done to me, baby. That's incredible.
Yeah, Soon was consistent. Yeah, like Soon was a very good Tracer, and he would be, you know, close 5 or 6, like top 5.
Is Piggy? He'll be in a tough way here on the D to go for a bit of a ride.
He's on the road to.
Oh no.
Yeah, what's the point, mate?
I mean,
Happy gets Violet? Excuse me? Dude, Violet's actually got picked so much in this game. I forgot how much it was.
yeah, I mean, you don't have your. This will be a Deadeye that comes through. You don't have your Diva for the defense matrix. You almost can't. But still, a really nice shot though. It just shows like how dangerous Happy is on the Hanzo.
Yeah, Super turned his shield around, I think, just to try and get rid of the mini Diva.
Hold on a moment.
Happy. Extremely sharp today. And the Outlaws are doing.
Remember the FRD Shagger? Yeah. Piggy was laughing then. He wasn't just laughing just before. This is when the if I get picked first narrative. Well, it's like he does it throughout the entirety of the season. He really gets called for that.
Precipitates the winning fight.
Well, watch for the shots to get aggressive though. Amp matrix plus sound barrier.
Team did Happy go to again? Happy is now on the Washington Justice.
To them here.
I think
That we've seen
Anthony
them
got
do
just
before.
amped healing instead.
Did Dante ever play a match for the Shock in 2018? Yeah.
So, no amp speed boost available for now. Be back in a moment. Happy. Oh no! Choi Kyoman, look at him. Look at this cheeky little position, able to eat up that Dragon Strike. It's not common to see
Big
that at
eats.
all, and yet we've already seen it twice this season. Choi Kyoman there really takes the wind out of the Outlaws' sails right now, but deflated as they are, they still have an objective. 2 minutes 23 on the clock, and Crimso's just got that amplification matrix online, and he activates it immediately. Jungu, oh, was that the bunny hop shatter attempt from Super? He gets four with that, absolutely disgusting. Jungu now tries to forge ahead and use the May wall, but Dante gets cut down, and San Francisco, in the words of Super, pretty swaggy, not gonna lie.
Pretty swaggy, as Mitch says. That was a good shout out by Mitch. By Mitch. Great shout out by Mitch. Good shout out by Super. Good follow up by May. Nero.
Expected here today is Happy goes off of Hanzo, goes to McCree now. So This will offer them a little bit more.
Dante was one of the best shots. Dante has always been a good player on a bad team. That's the curse of Dante.
Like the McCree can play.
I think a lot of people underrate Dante because he hasn't had that much success, but he's always been on very average teams. This was kind of the first year we really got to see him play like a lot of different things. And even then, it wasn't really like
May not really be a factor in the end.
the best metas for him at times.
Honestly, they're looking for another way in, and right now,
Happy found the Cassidy button? Yeah, it turns out Cassidy pretty good.
May wall up instantly.
That was a great bomb. Holy shit. You guys see that? He throws it so people move, but it goes into the pylon, so people weren't expecting it to do it.
Nero and FD God both go down. The shock down to 4 players, and immediately Super heads for the heal. Striker trying to buy a little bit of space, a chance to retreat with that Deadeye here, but that cart is getting close.
If there was a World Cup, Dante would start for Team America.
Map, but this shatter is blocked.
Yeah, Shatter gets absolutely nothing, but look at the pressure they put on the Super. That'll be the cart getting across the line.
I'm trying to think if there's someone else who would play for him.
The specific
Nero? Yeah, I'm trying to think who it would be. It'd be Nero,
down a little bit. They
Dante, and Nero? But neither of them play hit scan. Who would be the hit scan player for NA?
Violet was just trying to heal Striker up as much as possible.
Yeah, now there's Speedily.
Got some
Oh, Hydron. Isn't Aspire Canadian? Am I right?
all the control in terms of pace.
It'd probably be Hydron, right?
2 minutes remain on the clock here. San Francisco did finish with a time back.
Aspire's American.
Outlaws can do the same. We'll go back.
Aspire is Canadian. I'm pretty sure he's a Canadian.
Careful, Shatter. Okay, he thinks the Outlaws going to get aggressive behind that MH.
Is he not? Kai is British. Aspire's American? Oh, okay. For some reason I thought he was Canadian. Yeah, I think he'd probably be like Aspire. It'd be like Aspire, Hydron. Oh, holy fuck. FD God just got rolled. It'd probably be like Nero, Aspire, Dante, Hydron. Like a mix of that. I think it would either be Nero or Dante. They'd probably have 3 DPS. I think it would be between Hydron. It'd probably be between Hydron and Aspire.
Putting on a show on the Greek or the
I don't know. You can make a case for the other ones. It's hard to know.
that'll be a defense.
Speedily over Nero? Yeah, I guess there's no age limit. It's hard to know. I think I would probably pick Nero, but you'd probably have to do trials.
Striker. Violet's down. The Deadeye might not matter here, Matt.
I'm excited to see Shockwave Aspire DPS lineup for the Vancouver Titans.
Died right now. So look at where
Aspire obviously had a great season for the Toronto Defiant out of fucking nowhere.
look at Jungkook playing
And Shockwave, I feel like, you know, we just didn't get to see him much.
Shatter here. A lot of ultimates to get this across the line with a better time.
Flats on Widow. My eyes.
At some point, Nero's going to go around the right side and go for a...
Oh, the flashbang.
But the McCree stun was there.
Oh, that's a good mail.
Self-destruct over the top, claims Violet.
That's a great mail by Nero. Are they gonna kill the Ryan? Oh my god, they couldn't kill the Ryan. That's so sad.
You really shouldn't be getting, and a Shocker definitely agreeing with that right
Good
now.
beat by Juby as well. Damn.
With the sound barrier, he's going to catch the hell pulls nicely.
Zarandra, thank you for the 52-month tier 3 sub.
Banker could
Hot damn, much love.
I was gonna say, this is
Vancouver isn't gonna win anything, but it's still a super fun roster. Yeah, that's how I feel about like Florida as well, right? Like, I don't think they're gonna win tournaments and stuff like that, but I'm excited to see how they do.
just putting on a show, really, kind of taking it to Striker, but I also think
Honestly, I think every team this season is exciting. I don't think there's a single team that I'm not excited for. Maybe Chengdu if they end up selling all their players, but I think there aren't really like just bad teams that don't have any upside, right?
from Nero,
London, even London's exciting, right? Like
happy, keep everybody alive, good immortality field during that. So
I think London has some exciting pieces, right?
part of
And I think they could be good.
and it's the one I think most people were probably worried about coming into the season, but so far
I feel like people just underrate them.
Conversely, San Francisco support line, you think is probably one of the most hyped up,
Do the Valiant even have a team? The pieces that they do have are very good. Like, they have No Heal as coach, and then they got Dia Innovation is like really good. Obviously Becky, but like I'm less hype on Becky. And then the backline, like Lengsa had a great season with Team Chaser, and then
and he finds headshots.
who's their who's their
It's like whack-a-mole, and I mean, this guy is
who's their other support? Fuck. I'm like blanking on their other support. It's been too long.
having a really aggressive
Lengsa and
where you kind of have a pretty aggressive flex for with Violet.
Coldest. Yeah, Coldest. Coldest we didn't get to see much on Spark, but I think he's solid. Like, I think Valiant have a solid roster. Like, they're not going to be like they were last year, right? Where they're just like, oh, Violet goes down again. Dude, like, they got to protect Violet, and Violet's going to be more in the front. Like, it's just crazy how that keeps happening.
Yeah, there it is again.
Lengsa. People always say, I think, Lengsa. Lengsa.
The Outlaws take a fairly aggressive high ground position, and it worked out for the most part here. Yeah, Striker finding that kill doesn't really amount to too much in the end, but Matt, you know, FD God, if he curbs that enthusiasm, so to speak.
Valiant gonna, like, Valiant's that team. I don't think Valiant is gonna win championships the same way, but they're not gonna be the same bottom tier team that they were last season. I like this play by Dante. Oh, but it didn't pay off.
Like this split at least one player off, but
It's a shame Chengdu blew up after Valiant finish. Yeah, I just hope that Chengdu doesn't just, like, sell all of their pieces, good pieces, right? And that team just becomes, like, the hard 7th team in the region. All good wall by Dante. Chat, how do we feel about Dante May?
Can't move a muscle and is taken down. Deadeye from Happy claims
I feel like I'm unsure of how I feel about it. I feel like it's
They
good,
do not break. They receive the push from San Francisco and they whip back at him. That's
but
desperation.
why do I feel like a part of me thinks it's bad as well? Serviceable? Like, yeah, like not bad, but like serviceable.
they're on A.
Has crazy stats.
You're the Outlaws, obviously about the same time.
And he hits those right clicks.
1 second.
So I think it's solid, right? It's not the best in the league, but it's solid. Like, you're not going to be unhappy if you have Dante on May. That's how I, like, feel about it.
Definitely. Right. I think the
Just trying to, like,
type of
remember
situation
my eye test. I feel like,
where you need it, like if you can get a pick, you
like, it's been fine in this match, right? Like, it's been solid. I think he's been getting some good stuff, but...
the high ground. Even if he doesn't get the pick, he forces Choi away from Super, which could give them an advantage in terms of the brawl.
Well, it means they can't prolong the life.
Nero's better at May. Yeah, but I really like Nero May. Like, I think Nero May's nasty.
And I think if you're the Outlaws and you really trust Happy, there's probably a sense of inevitability about whether or not he'll get that pick. Now, if he goes to
It never seems to be the problem, but damn, they never win. Yeah.
a bit more compact,
But I think, like...
more conservatively,
I think this will be the season that Dante finally has a good team around him. My biggest fear is that Dante doesn't play over Pelican.
San Francisco shot
Because they have very similar hero pools.
history in the last couple of years is such a huge feat. I don't know if they just want to throw that opportunity away.
Well, that's the argument, right?
Nero May, I think, is the best in the league, challenged by Pelly.
Kind of
I didn't think Pelly May was that good. I thought it was the same as Dante, where it was good, but not great, like the best.
try something a little bit.
Who's the best May in the league, then?
That Hanzo,
That opens a good question. Who do you think is the best May in the league?
and maybe they get a pick, and that pick kind of secures them the win. You take the first snap, you're like, oh, well, we're kind of playing with house money, but like you mentioned, going up 2-0 against
Yaki?
you're gonna probably play standard.
Zoha?
To get that done. It's not like Happy's.
Rascal? Yeah, Rascal's May is a good shout. I don't know, it's hard.
Crazy on both.
It's hard to know.
Absolutely. The Outlaws trying
I feel like May is hard to judge exactly how much impact they're getting.
One tick on point A in 36 seconds of play. FD God checks the periphery just in case there was a Hanzo in the mix, but no. The Outlaws are playing together in a death ball style. And we'll have to wait and see which of those amplification matrices comes online first. They could be the deciders in this next fight, Matt.
Oh, Nero gets Crimzo? How?
From the Outlaws, disaster.
That was a big right click by Nero.
In a big way, the Shock are going to run them down, Matt.
And they're backing up, but they're probably not even gonna get another fight out of this potentially.
Crimzo should get back, and they should get a window here. Oh, that's a really smart window. Is Juby dead? No, Juby's alive. They literally just need to hold and keep touching. Just wait for Crimzo to get back. Just wait for Crimzo to get back. Please just wait. Oh, Happy's crazy.
Three join them right now, but they've lost Piggy's mech as a result. Can they recover from this? Happy
Oh, God, yeah.
and the pincer comes in.
This is a draw? I don't remember there being a draw in this match. How long is this match?
That is impressive stuff indeed. And now it'll just be a matter of cleaning up.
I didn't hear the question about Mono.
He's able to get anything done, and we have a draw in our second match.
Losing the Batiste, really for.
All right, on to Dorado. Oh, fuck me, dude. So, this is what we've been talking about. This map is like the definition of all of San Francisco's woes happening in one series of events. Like, it all comes to a culmination of this. This is the first time Violet got subbed in to play DPS. He's playing the Cassidy, where it's like, why isn't Glista playing the Cassidy? Like, that just makes more sense. Why doesn't Striker play the Cassidy? He just played it. Why does Violet need to go to the Cassidy on Dorado and then sub Twilight in? Is it so that Twilight can play Ana? But that doesn't really make sense, right? Like, wait, let's go to the start of the lineup before I start talking too much. So Glista's playing the Widow. Maybe they wanted Glista to play the Widow so that Violet can play the Cass. So Twilight's playing the Ana and they're playing a double bubble. Historically, Violet has never really wanted to play much Ana. When we did see his Ana, it's pretty solid, but they seem to sub Twilight in to play the Ana. But then Violet going over the DPS is like, it's just really weird. And the worst thing that I need to preface this whole thing with is watch Glister play Tracer. Just keep an eye, and I'm going to keep reminding you, watch Glister play Tracer, and then remember that Striker is sitting on the bench.
Obviously switching from DPS in that setup to playing that flex support role. And no one should be doubting this guy who's been absolutely grinding higher ladder.
We ended up, we actually reviewed this match, and I watched Glister Pol, the Tracer Pol for this, and it, oh man. And it feels like Shocker's just trying to give people playtime, or Shocker's just feel, I don't know what it is, but Dante one clips Glister.
The Tracer duel with Glister, so you love to see that if you're an Outlaws fan. Dante there with Jungkook, they'll deal with Smurf, so the payload will stop. Violet trying to get in.
Oh, also, yeah, Jake's in to play the Brig. This was like a pretty common thing throughout this season. Jake comes in to play the Brig when they're going to play like the Brig's end. When they know that they're going to play Brig and they're never really going to play Lucio, because you're not ever really going to play Brawl on Dorado, Jake came in to play the Brig or the Mercy.
Tons of poke damage from the high ground now.
Well, Houston needs these fights to go quick. Any elongated fight, they don't have enough healing to deal with this. Especially
Yeah, I'm going to wait to talk about the Dante quote when it happens. But yeah, as I said,
Dante finds a pick onto the Tracer really quick.
Just keep an eye on it.
On the Smurf. Those are the types of fights you want to see. You don't want to see these dragged out fights.
Jake's in trouble. He gets hit with a bionic grenade, and yep, Glister eventually going to be able to take him down. But Smurf invested so heavily in getting to the high ground, he eventually's taken down.
Oh.
Pretty early personal bubble used by Troy Kyoben, who was forced.
Do you guys remember that time that someone said is Dante Tracer's not good?
Yeah, I mean, look, they invest a lot to try and get that high. Onto Smurf. They're not able to really live.
Literally his best hero.
But that's not really the huge
Glister's at 70% all charge. A minute 45 in, Glister's at 71% all charge.
coming off the spawn. This is the shock yet again, trying to take the high ground. No Lucio, so they can't really get there fast. It's gonna take a bit.
Happy knows they're coming too. Sees him on the low ground. Okay, Dynamite eaten by Defense Matrix, but Bob is still active. He goes straight into the breach, and he'll be tending the cart for a while. This will allow Happy to safely reposition backwards.
Not a great Bob by Happy. Dante Sombra second best in the league. I don't agree with that anymore. I think it used to be great. I also don't know when the last time I saw Dante Sombra was. I think that used to be factual. Like he was a
You love to see it. Some people
So Glister goes in, gets absolutely rolled.
take a bow. Nicely done there, dealing with Glister pushing in here. And that
Have I just confused my? I think people like. I think that used to be factual that Dante Sombra was really good. I don't know if that's true anymore.
It looks like Glister getting in, finding a pick on the Zenyatta is not going to be their ticket to victory here.
And Jake knew that Glister was behind enemy lines. He knew he was up.
Dante has the shortest EMP hold time and the highest. Yeah, but I don't think he played it that much. Like I feel like I haven't seen the Dante Sombra in a while.
Tries to get a pulse.
It's still pretty good. Yeah, like I don't think Dante's bad at Tracer and that he's lost it, but yeah. So Glister, he's finally got the pulse bomb.
Once more, Coach Gun will be a problem, and he recalls before he's knocked back by that ability. Piggy has a graviton surge.
They rally in and don't get any space.
Smurf forced to use a primal rage, but he's hit with the
Good grab onto the Smurf.
He is denied. The bouncer Piggy meets him at the door and says, "Sorry, you must be this fast to get in." He will eventually fall as Glister's pressure eventually.
Dude, this Shock team looks so lost when they were playing it. Like they're all over the place.
They come up with very little. 30 seconds on the clock here. San Francisco are at risk of being held.
Feel bad for Twilight. Hey, he's on the Toronto Defiant now. That team looks to be pretty solid this season. I'm actually excited to see Twilight become that mainstay player.
Especially with these long strike lines, it's just like what I was talking
Dante lapped Glister and ults. Yeah, Dante's literally got a whole pulse bomb before Glister.
be able to just pick him apart, do constant damage at range. So Smurf trying to get close to the cart. All the ultimates.
Look at how much, like, they're literally doing nothing.
I mean, Smurf's trying to find a way in. He's taken so much damage. Adaptive shielding already used, and he's run down by Piggy. FD got is removed by Crimzo care of headshot.
Dude, this was so ugly.
Have barely begun to play the game before the
This is hard to watch. It's so ugly. And, like, this was, like, this, as I said, this summarizes the woes really heavily. Of, like, why? It's not like they...
Let's play really careful, really smart.
It's the Jake value, right, as a smart in-game leader.
So don't.
And so millions around the world swoon, collect here.
Is that they
And here's the thing, is like, it's like
You have an idea.
people blame FD God for playing Brig. People blame Glista Tracer, but it's like, why is Glista in to play Tracer anyway? It feels like a very weird thing to do. Why is Glista not playing Hitscan, the thing that he was known for? And then you have FD God playing the Brig, and people blame FD God Brig, but like, dude, that team was just lost. Like, you can't blame FD God Brig for that.
White knuckle grip for San Francisco on their periphery.
I feel like people just like looking for something to blame.
In this map and avoid being on the wrong end for match point. They wouldn't have thought, I'm sure. Eventually, San Francisco must believe the hype around them, of course. Team doesn't look that much weaker as opposed to
It is
last year, but
interesting
the
spot to get
competition's gotten bigger.
Yeah, to get the Ana up here on the high ground, being able to just poke, do some damage is Dante will play the Echo here. So I actually like the Echo.
I blame the coach for putting him out of the striker. Yeah, exactly.
Beat you on this McCree. We saw him do it yesterday.
Why didn't people play more Bull's End? No one knew that Bull's End was the best comp at the point. At this point,
Really a non-factor.
people thought people hadn't discovered the Bull's End comp fully true, and the Shanghai really popularized it.
And the Echo constantly looking for him here. Everybody looking for Violet. He has to abscond pretty quickly.
Like, how does Glista die? Like, how does Glista get caught on the cart?
Looking for Violet. He has to abscond in that back corner.
What is he doing? He like goes to contest cart.
Looking for Violet.
He just dies.
But Glista's already gone down. Bites off a little bit more than he can chew. The rest of the Shock were already in full-scale retreat, and he was left on his own.
This might be over quick, man.
Bye.
That
Yeah.
Troy, he would have dropped at the hands of Dante anyway, but Dante Jake.
Dude, this map was so bad.
See how strong his Echo is with the focusing beam, just putting down damage. Is
That, I mean, this is going to be over, Matt.
yeah, this is one-sided.
FD God is down. I mean, Glista tries to touch the point there, but that's about all she wrote. The Outlaws deliver a stunning suplex to the Shock here on Dorado.
Yikes. Do they not show it? But Dante at the end there says, just put, hey, what is it? What is the direct quote? It's like, just please put Striker on Tracer or something like that.
They try the secret weapon. Violet comes in at DPS, and it is not enough to...
with close out the Shock though. That's the thing, right? Back
Put Striker in? Yeah, it's just like, that, and you can't even blame him. Like, that was just tragic.
Not King K. Map being able to fight and keep
So then we go back to Brawl and they put back in this lineup, and this lineup makes sense, right? Like Striker, Nero, they're gonna play the Brawl.
had best keep their wits about them right now because Happy looks like he's going to come.
He was not put in good scenarios. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Glista was never put in a situation to succeed. Like when he got subbed in to play hit scan, it's like it wasn't a hit scan meta. Like
also just a ton of damage up close. And Dante puts an interesting make wall to just kind of protect them.
Dante shot calling for Shock.
Probably have to wait.
Dude, this is, I hate this part of the map. The Brawl on Brawl where they both just got a walls and it's just gonna head. This is when Happy Hanzo made me really happy.
Trying to bait this May wall out. They
Dude,
can find
Violet
what
dead
they were looking for.
again.
No, this is terrible for San Francisco.
But Happy Hanzo is actually filthy.
Thrown up there by Nero, but he's shut down. Happy found Striker. Happy finds
Woo!
Happy finds Sam.
Dude, Happy killed everyone. Literally, Shock probably would have won that fight if Happy didn't go sicko.
I mean, how many times on the Hanzo or even the McCree he found like the first kickoff in a fight, and a lot of the time he's found Violent. You know, you find you're able to
So excited for Happy to KD you. Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
get 2 kills at the beginning of the fight. You look at that, it's like tremendous. Happy's starting these fights off getting like the first 2 picks. I know getting a support, then taking out another player in the process, and living on through it.
Sorry.
Point 8 taken basically instantly, and he's got a Dragon Strike. This could be really bad for San Francisco.
Again, this back line of the Shock has to try and find a way to stay safe, or at least to be effective while being a little bit more passive, because frankly,
Was that Happy being great or Troy? You've been pedaling to check him? The Diva can't really check that Hanzo the whole time.
where he could be looking at
Yeah, like Troy could have done more, but like at the end of the day, Happy hit the shots. It's hard to do on Hanzo.
first of them. The Dragon cuts off the left-hand side. That actually cuts off a couple San Francisco players for a time, but the Outlaws aren't able to do it.
GB gets FD God? How does FD God, dude? Violent and FD God are just taking turns on when to. How did that not stun Django? Taking turns on when to die.
And compensate with a lack of defensive stats with some pure aggression, but that's just not going to get the job done. Houston Outlaws, too good for that stuff right now. A new era, perhaps, for this Texas team, and San Francisco Shock laid low.
As Juby picks off him, he got at the beginning. You had another pick, I believe it was Happy again, onto Violent as
Ugh.
the Outlaws.
Oh, that was rude.
Like a record time here, potentially.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
7. However, but in season
Alright.
happened at this
All right, let's actually have a look at this Hanzo play.
Take a look at Happy's POV. It's easier said than done though when you have
Yeah, Violet's just a little in the open there.
he just goes right over the top.
Oh, good. Striker gets got.
Striker, I mean,
Yeah, like, it's kind of hard. Like, the D.Va can't really matrix up high, otherwise they're going to take too much damage down low. Nasty.
how it would have been something like Blister on the shot. We just haven't seen him get that much run. Blister, a tremendous player last year for London. It'll be interesting how the Shock try and incorporate him more.
Did Ryan have shadow damage at this point? No. Shadow damage, when was shadow damage? That was more recently. That was in the last few months, right? Like, last 4 months.
Out of this series. And then we're going to try and make their run back here. I mean, it has to happen here, obviously.
April Fools? I don't think it was April Fools. But it definitely wasn't in this year.
Work to stay afloat in this series. Here we go, though. To make their way over to the middle pavilion here. Dante on the Echo, harassing from long range. San Francisco have been able to work their way in. There's a bit of a wedge here.
I don't know why Houston played double bubble here. Maybe they just don't want to take that Boral mirror. Dante gets Violet again.
San Francisco running a little bit low with that thing called gas here, and Happy has got all the explosives he needs. Striker may as well be flammable at this rate. Coach Gun knocks Happy back out of the scrutiny of Nero. Another big headshot, and this man, he don't miss.
What the fuck? There's a Rhine on him. Where did a Rhine? Where did Super just come from?
That's how they kind of have to play this, though. Like, they're playing this rush style, double bubble in for the Outlaws. They're basically just using the speed boost for the Lucio from FD to just chase down whoever they can. They finally pick up enough kills to move their way onto the point. Coming into the next fight, the Shucks will have some ultimates to potentially try and take point B with a very good time.
Super's a Rhine ninja.
Shatter, Amp Matrix, Sound Barrier. A lot of good combos here for the Shock to try and set an even better time, most likely.
And there it is, Matt. Echoes of that San Francisco supremacy of the last 2 years. They find it when they really need it. They need to get the job done here, though, on the map and sort of make it competitive in terms of these time banks. Punish Houston maybe for getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Here's the immortality.
Oh?
And Matrix from Violet.
Oh god, Dante's doing so much damage. Oh, don't go to Cass. Why did he... Yeah, Dante, that wasn't very good. I don't know, it looked like he wanted the Cass. If he went to the D.Va, that would have been sick.
Graviton Surge comes a little bit late in the day in the Blizzard zone of InSport. Nero can handle these two on his own. Crimzo is down. Happy can't do too much more, but try and disco down.
That's such a good wall by Nero. Blocking the May. Nero's actually playing well this series. Yeah, as I said, it just goes to all the hate. Like, people give Nero so much hate, but Nero actually plays so well. Especially on the May. Like,
Shatter.
Outlaws approach to attacking that. They'll get jumped more. The composition is the same. San Francisco, this is where they make their case to stay alive.
Yeah, and I think what they have to do is when they see this Hanzo pick,
Nero always played well, yeah.
side, let's say, Happy's going to try and control that high ground space. They can't allow him to just stay up there.
Probably the best player in the Shock this year. I agree, yeah.
Probably has to go up there, push him down, deal with it a little bit. Or that they just use the speed boost and just run right through the front.
He's so good at silly heroes, but the thing that makes Nero a great player is Nero is a very good silly hero specialist. I agree, but I think he has a mild amount of hit scan and he can play Tracer really well, and I think that's important. Like the days of being able to just play silly heroes of like I play me Doomfist Farah like have changed. Like you need to be able to play Tracer. And he has Hanzo. That's true. His Hanzo is also very nutty. Like I think Nero has a really good hero pool, in my opinion. Like he's not gonna be your like Widow specialist or a hit scan specialist, but he can play some of it, right?
Someone else with that trademark aggression from San Francisco, and they bump it on the Outlaws.
That's exactly what they need to do. Just bully them out. If he's gonna play the Hanzo and try and go for the off angles, try and get these picks at the start, just kind of try and run.
When did Farah become a silly hero? Farah's always been a silly hero.
They have to back up. Immortality field out early.
It's like Farah is a niche hero. Like, when we say silly hero, what I mean by silly hero, because I guess I've been saying it more, is I mean niche hero, right? Like, really niche characters that very rarely come out, like Genji, Doomfist, Farah, Junkrat, like less Symmetra lately, like, just like weird heroes that very rarely get played, but they're very niche on certain maps. Yeah, like Jinmu is the definition of a silly hero specialist, right? Torb? Yeah, Torb to a degree, yeah.
Get some point position, then maybe it's just Super with like a Shatter jumping around the corner.
Lesson learned by the Shock, Matt. If it's going to happen for them, it has.
If it's in Jimu's hero pool, it's a silly hero. Exactly. Alright, so Shock get the cap. Shock have been fortunate that they've actually done very well in the first fights of these 2 CPs. Oh, good fire strike. Oh. Oh, nice shatter.
Crimzo, he throws down the amplification matrix, but he's knocked to the ground at San Francisco. They've come up with the goods. Self-destruct over the top here, doesn't claim anyone.
This is a good dragon. Gets Violet. Oh, nice. Dude, Happy carry? Happy's insane. Happy impressed me a lot in 2021. I wasn't sold on the Happy signing from when he was on Guangzhou. Like, we knew he was good, but I didn't think he was, like, nuts. But his Hanzo this year was actually great. And even the hit scan when he did play it. It wasn't a very big hit scan year, but Happy, I like Happy a lot. He's sold me. Why would Shock ult there and not disengage? Let me have a look again. Yeah, this is definitely a bad beat by FD God. Yeah, no, that's just a bad. You can't defend that beat. Like, literally, you should have just gone again. That was definitely a bad beat. You've lost 2 already on 2 CP on Anubis. If you've lost 2 people, it's not going to finish, especially with how many spawners were coming out. I want Chinese players in other teams than Chinese or Korean Chinese. The reality is it's hard to have Chinese players play on, you know, like Western teams and that kind of stuff because the infrastructure isn't set up for, you know, Chinese translators, Chinese, helping Chinese culture become a thing. Like, it's very difficult to have like obviously they'd speak English and then you'd have a Korean translator and a Chinese translator, and it's just hard. Oh, Choi gets the eat on Dante. Oh, good shadow on the super. Yeah, getting visas on top of that is a good point. It's sad. Like, yeah, I agree. Like, it'd be awesome in a perfect world where that like wasn't an issue, right? Where it's like visas and communication issues and people could just play together regardless. Damn, good hold.
5 kills to put San Francisco 6 feet under. What in the world? Like, Choi comes in and eats the blizzard, and it looks like this is going to be a
maintaining experience. So yeah, he got shattered and then he just lost from there. Let's watch this high.
But like, basically just wipe the team. Again, that one there's with plenty of assistance, but there's some solo kill action.
That's so nasty, dude.
Everyone's lining up for Happy in that amplification.
Oh my god.
Doesn't even need to get headshots, man. That's messed up. Happy's like, here, hold this dookie for me, baby.
Dude, he's so good.
Heroics there of Happy. That doesn't erase the fact that San Francisco had a fantastic point A attack to get themselves in position to
I feel like Happy has like 95% kill potential. He's just like 1 team fights on his own.
They need to follow the trend they've been setting of one-upping San Francisco at every turn, and they will take a similar approach here. Keep an eye on Happy. He's up in the archers right now.
It's the same type of thing, though.
Houston are going to dominate this season? Yeah, I think everyone was super happy for Houston like at this point. I think Houston is another team that overthought themselves throughout the season, right? Where they signed Dreamer, and then they were like all over the place, and then they keep going back and forth to Jake and Juby. Felt like they were subbing a lot still. Like, it kind of felt like they played themselves from time to time.
That's the way they have to play it, though. If he's going to take that high ground, try and go for that.
Question, how long has Uber been doing this up? Being a caster for years. He's been doing, like, he did it in Australia, and he did a bunch of freelance stuff before the league and stuff. Jake is coach? Yeah, Jake is purely a coach now. He's no longer a player coach.
They've got to pay off Happy's heroics in that previous defense here. Looking to end the series now. San Francisco, again, digging their heels in.
Houston are just not having anywhere near as much success in these, like, brawl mirrors. It kind of feels like they're relying on Happy to get these, like, crazy number of kills. Dude, FD God's got to be careful. He keeps getting caught by Happy. I guess he was a distraction.
Dante looks no better. Happy, he's going to have to flank around, go for a more direct approach here as the Shock take the foot off the gas for a moment.
Maywall here, Matrix and Maywall.
I was surprised the Matt was going to be cast with Uber again this year. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Matt does it. It seems like he's really enjoying his, like, more, I guess, league-sided thing, but...
Go for the Blizzard Super. He gets caught in that one. No escape. Chukobin desuited now and not removed, so it'll be a long time before the Diva properly gets functionally back into the fight.
Alright, Houston get the cap, but they're not going to have much time going for the third point. Second point. I don't understand. They thought Django was finding other teams. Yeah, I didn't really understand the Dream assignment. Like, Dreamer was a solid player as well, but maybe they didn't like Django's dive heroes. Like, it felt like Dreamer came in to play like the Winston and the Bull, and Django played like the Orisa Ryan. But I don't know why they had such a big disconnect.
For San Francisco, unless it's a massive shatter from Django in a huge self-destruct from Piggy. The shot in a great spot to win this map.
Crimzo though, and Amp Matrix is definitely on the cards. He just doesn't have a lot of time to build it up right
Think it was Dreamer's English? Yeah, I've heard that like it was his English, but like as I said, it's one of those things that like they would probably be better to have consistency than to have perfect setups, you know? Like it goes back to the thing I always say of I don't think you need the perfect roster. Like in terms of like everyone always on their comfort, everyone always the thing. You just need consistency and like reps together. Oh, Piggy dies for that.
Super falls to Happy, but the Shock have the numbers advantage. Dragon strike to the point, lays FD God low, but it's not enough to remove him. And Violet fires up now behind his Ant Matrix. He says no. And San Francisco Shock hold on, and I mean it only.
All right, 2-1. San Francisco Shock wins 2 CP in the most 2 CP fashion.
See that? I saw Stridy.
All right, what are we going to? Oasis? Probably going to get Brawl. Yeah, we're going to get another Brawl mirror. There was a lot of... As much as 2021 was a pretty good season, one of the worst things about 2021 is there was a lot of Brawl and a lot of like zombie comp dive. Like it's just a lot of group gameplay. It didn't feel like there was a lot of dive until you had the ball comps come out. And that's why like I really enjoyed watching the ball comps. You see Zens pop off and stuff like that, but like the Lucio Moira shit just ain't it.
I mean, San Francisco, Striker has to be, I mean, he has to have his eyeballs taped open right now. I bet have that 5G in his veins. He's going to catch the Sombra before Dante causes big problems for his front line. So far at San Francisco, they sort of take points here, but look at the rotation from the Outlaws. They tried to dive on
Troy gets Happy. Well played.
But they get punished here. Chocoban just receives Jungu and Happy. Plenty of damage from the rest of the Shock to complete those kills.
Zombie comp was awful, yeah. I think I'd prefer Brawl to zombie comp. The zombie comp was really boring. Especially when it was like peak Echo Moira. When you just have like 19 Diva bombs flying around.
Let's say go off on an angle. Starting to play, you see how everybody's just kind of clumped together. So close together, playing as a unit.
We'll see that in May Melee. In the May Melee finals is the next history of Overwatch we're going to do. And that highlights their Echo stuff pretty well. Wow, nice window.
You have no May wall. You're not playing the Maze. You don't have a May wall. You're right.
Nerf this! Nerf this! Nerf this!
Nothing he can do. That's Violet with a kill on the Happy to finish it off. So, wow, 2 fights, 2 big Shock wins.
What a great point, Matt. I mean, you get caught in the open against the Baptiste ultimate as Houston's composition, and you have nowhere to go.
Nothing.
You can try and speed out of there, but they're trying to hide behind these little cards. Those cards.
Echo zombie comp was that June Joust? Okay, I can't exactly remember what happens in the May Melee.
Close to that first DMP, Striker looking to see exactly what he can get from a wide swing. Finds nothing, but again, it's a line of sight that can't be broken by the Outlaws. Means that they are really slow on getting through this open area.
Awesome Lego.
The EMP is coming online soon. Oh, big hack onto the Maze, so you don't have a May wall to deal with. This Ant Matrix has and a big EMP. That's going to connect with 4.
Yeah, and still though, the Shock is standing now. Violet lost his immortality.
Oh, good shadow by Django.
It doesn't seem to matter though. The Outlaws come up with the goods here.
Well, here's the Dante Sombra, by the way.
Generously on this particular fight, and where Crimzo put that.
Gets the EMP, gets a good EMP, and then shatters. But like, the problem with that, and the reason I don't really like Sombra in the Brawl is like, you just lose the neutral, right? Like, so Houston wins the fight that they use EMP. That's great, but now like you're going up against so many good ults from the Shock. It's hard to get value from the Sombra. Like it feels like you're so dependent to play around the EMP. Like they just don't have a wall. Like how do you stop this from happening? Like there's no way to stop it. Oh, that was a late beat by Juby. Honestly, both Lucios I don't think have had a great series. Actually, Juby's had a couple of good beats, but yeah, the Shock have so many ults. Like, what do you do? Like, Dante doesn't have another EMP. I just think Sombra's just a bad pick. I think this was a series that's sure that Brick Super's back. Nah, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it was one of the reasons that he didn't enjoy, but there's so much left in the season. Like, Shock have a pretty good season after this. Oh, Choi. I think he could have waited. I think he could have got away. I think he could have got away with pressing the button later.
Involved in the fighting on the point, but elsewhere, Happy falls. Striker finds that crucial headshot now. Happy once again losing.
Dante wants to save this EMP so bad. Yeah, he's just gonna have to press it, I think. Oh, good beat by FD God. Yeah, I don't know who decided to play Sombra for the Houston Outlaws here, but it ain't it. Did they start on Sombra? They had to have, right? Yeah, like, I don't understand that Sombra pick. That Sombra pick is just not good.
To expect from around between these two forms of the Shock and Outlaws, respectively. Happy, of course, early on.
The oldest SR will be resetted? I don't think so. I think that if they're going to do a hard reset, I think Overwatch 2 is the time to do it.
And the Outlaws mirror these compositions.
People have always asked for a hard reset, and I think you can't really get away. Oh, FD God, that's a bad feed. I think they'll probably do a hard reset for Overwatch 2. I hope they do. You know, I think they can get away with it. Apparently, Sombra on Control had a huge success for Outlaws and Scrims. Dude, that is like... I think that is the most Houston Outlaws quote. I think they have just a PR person who has that copied to their clipboard at all points. Yeah, it worked really well for us in Scrims. I don't know why it didn't work in the match. Like, literally, I think I've heard that from like 4 or 5 different metas. When Farah didn't work in the playoffs in 2020. Yeah, it worked really well in Scrims, but it just didn't work in the match and it looked awful. It's like, well, how does this keep happening?
Takes a lot of damage there as he tried to swing. Immortality field though is going to be used first from the
Oh, GB! Oh my God.
Able to get away. Violet loses his immortality field. Dante's forced to drop down to the low.
Oh wow, how did that cast go so far? I think he managed to get back on.
It looks like Violet was able to stay alive and stay on the platform, and so the Shock. They respond with a vengeance. Choihoven barking orders as the rest of the Vanguard pushes up. San Francisco get a fight win.
It's just Atlanta throwing in Scrims to trick the Outlaws.
They get that. They get that first pick off, don't even get the point. They control the high ground there, so
no one could touch the point itself.
Yeah.
Everyone's just oh, this is this one. I forgot about this. So you can Maywall up your Cassidy to get on this high ground.
This is some tech, man. This is
they got the Maywall here and boosted it.
My okay, let's watch this in 0.25 speed because it's so funny. You can see the moment that Django realized it was over. Matt, okay. What is... Like, Django realized at the last second. Look, he's like, oh shit, where is he? Flash, shatter, boom. Oh.
What is the plan here? It's gonna be a flash.
Oh, there it is. Classic, dude. That is actually a very historical moment. That was such a sick play in the time.
San Francisco now at 32% on the clock, and I don't know how we got up there, but bloody hell.
Poetry in motion.
Once, Matt, but my God, it works.
So you got to bring your playoff strats out the second game of the season, you know? So that is a filthy spot as Tengu, he was like, there's something.
That's actually so nasty.
And as soon as he looked up,
Team just feeds to make Dante feel better.
beautiful shatter.
That's right, Jungle. Gullible's written on the ceiling.
Feels Dante, man.
Striker in the back here with a dead eye, just peppering Piggy. Who needs to be careful now. Okay, nice disengage there from Juby. Gets the Outlaws outside.
Oh God, Vi, you gotta be careful with jumping like that. Happy can two-tap you. Oh, that's not a great window.
Here's the bomb.
Oh, F.
FD-God was not ready for that.
So FD-God has had some bad deaths. FD-God and Violet are like trying to one-up each other on how to have bad deaths.
Blizzard came down because the Shock were not able to push on up through it.
Was that a boop? I didn't see it. I thought he ran around the wall.
Keep him honest at the very least, but that air matrix is in a rough position.
Oh, that's a good boop. Oh yeah, him and Juby boop each other. That's a good boop by Juby.
Not ready for that. The man is just
I think it's like both of them end up in no man's land in comparison to their team in a brawl scenario, which is kind of weird.
For the Outlaws is they should be able to take
Oh, Striker?
Crimso's down though. It's got to be a sound barrier here just to have the extra durability to end the fight. With Violet being traded out though, I think the Outlaws will be.
Oh, good soul by Nero.
They've let this get a bit out of hand.
Gets really unlucky this match, yeah. But like, it's one of those things that if you keep getting unlucky, you're probably doing something wrong, right? Like, yeah, there are times in which you can like, it's kind of like the Violet thing of like, oh, he just like keeps getting unlucky, he just keeps getting headshot from across the map. It's like, he's probably slightly out of position then, right? Yeah, like you're gonna get unlucky every now and then, you're gonna get one shot from fucking Narnia, but like, if it keeps consistently happening, there's a outside factor that it's affecting that.
San Francisco could be in the midst of one of the greatest comebacks we have ever seen in a series of Overwatch. All right, Deadeye from Striker. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The Outlaws are still perched up on theirs for the time being. They avoid the Deadeye. Now it's Happy's.
Good beat. I actually love that beat.
He gets hit by
Oh shit, he got the, oh! Wow, that was well played by the Outlaws. They played that perfectly. They held the high noon perfectly, managed to outdo Troy Cuban's Matrix, and then they shoot and then shatter.
An Ant Matrix, the Shatter, and you'll most likely get the Blizzard yet again. So probably have the Ant Matrixes traded out at that point. You know, maybe when you see that Piggy goes for the self-destruct, that's when you drop the Blizzard. Potentially, you know, without the defense.
What's good about that beat? Because they were stuck in a corner due to the high noon. By beating it allows them to aggress onto them. There's a chance that they could potentially just insta-kill the Cassidy.
Super down early.
Gotta
Get
back
out.
up.
And they do
Damn, Happy plus.
not good. This puts the shock in one fight territory, Matt. Look at this.
Why'd they even switch Moth with that B-God? You guys act as if Moth wanted to stay there.
You know, they're gonna
Maybe
get
Moth wanted to leave.
their own, Blizzard, their own Deadeye. Specifically, they're gonna have a sound barrier, which is huge because now the Blizzard that comes in from the shock, you know, as long as Juby doesn't get stuck in it, he can just drop that sound barrier, save everything.
Maybe Shock weren't willing to give him the money.
Fight win there for the Outlaws.
Alright, so Biotic Aura has to be used.
Did Moth say he wanted to leave? Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it wasn't that Shock didn't want him. I think it was more there were other factors involving.
Try to get themselves here.
Yeah, he freelanced himself. Yeah, like he freelanced himself and Glad's offered him the bag. Not a great decision in the grand scheme of things, but like I agree with it. Like
Around. It'll be a May wall to make it hard to connect this Deadeye, but he will still look anyway. Comes up with nothing. His prospecting is over now, but FD
Moth seems kind of done. Yeah, like I'm not shocked at all that Moth like retired.
forced into ice block. Self-destruct on top just looks like a cake.
Oh, dude, is Houston really gonna hold this throughout the whole point?
Unable to get out of that one, and Troy Coben is desuited.
That was good play against Piggy.
By Piggy, he's forced away from the fight. Super shield, it's so low. Tries to stay alive.
Good lamp.
Maywall is thrown up. The immortality field of Violet.
Dude, Striker's doing a good job of living. He's just being a threat.
Here as they try to keep control. Shatter.
Oh, Django gets Nero.
That's all, and it's not
Django's won.
go down. Dante
Big boot by FD got onto Dante.
out of town.
Woo, let's go.
San Francisco.
He retired? Well, we haven't heard anything, but we are, what, like just under 2 weeks? Just over 2 weeks from the league starting, and he hasn't been signed or said anything. I think it's safe to say that he retired.
Right, some high ground that you can take. You don't have to play completely.
Okay, so now we go to Havana.
Change in terms of supports for the shot.
God, this is
Word it the same way.
like you're probably just gonna play Brawl vs Brawl again. Like, why? Someone explain to me why they sub Violet and Twilight in. Like now it's Violet Twilight. Now they have Striker Glista.
Teams with a history that is intertwined over the course of years in the Overwatch League. But the Outlaws make no
Why?
mistake, they've never truly been competitors to San Francisco in this current era.
Double sniper Bap Zen.
Has changed. It's all changed.
Yeah,
And the Outlaws have a
but
beating
Flaws here.
you gotta expect that people are gonna play Brawl at this point. I guess more people play Double Shield at this point. Brawl's pretty common on Havana now, but back then maybe Double Shield was much more common. So like, but they just, and here's the problem, and this goes back to like when you say like, oh, they want to sub people in so that they can have that specialist and they have this team. This roster for the Shock can't switch to Brawl effectively. Like they just can't. If for whatever reason Houston Outlaws play Brawl, they can't effectively switch to it.
They'll play from distance. So
And that's a problem. In my opinion, that's a big problem when you can't effectively switch to it.
I know he's gonna have a tough opponent with Happy on the other side.
Again, as I mentioned before, Glista, I think he has a 15% critical hit accuracy on Widowmaker in 2020. So one of the highest. Patient, a true assassin from long range. It's safe to say. Happy though, a little bit different. A little bit.
Nah, Lucio, Bio plays Lucio all good. Yeah, it was so good. Don't worry about it.
Sniper comps, San Francisco doubling down on the sniper, the long range aspect. Just has had a crick in his neck all day by the looks of things. Let's see if he can work that out, as he works his frustrations out on the Outlaws.
I mean, Havana was still double for Cyberland. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, maybe it's the difference of the time, but like, there's a reason a lot of people play a lot less double shield these days, because if you try and play double shield and the defense holds brawl, you need to be able to switch to brawl to break it. You can very rarely get out the doors if you try and hold the double shield, and people realize that, and this maybe is the beginning of people realizing that. But if I remember correctly, the Shock full hold here as well, so it's not the worst thing in the world, right? It's just, I just hate the inflexibility of it. But I guess maybe you could say the same thing with their brawl lineup, that they wouldn't be able to play double shield if they needed to.
And again, he just constantly is taking headshots across the map from Custa. He's very close to that infra site.
And we caught it a little bit from Piggy's POV, but you know, Happy had to use the grapple to get up. Try and get a headshot point of view at Glister, but yeah, Glister was just tremendous. This will be a transcendence early on here.
Dude, Glister's gonna crack. Glister's gonna ruin his neck. Look at this. Glister's gonna be careful, man. He's gonna get a crook neck. Just watch Glister for this whole thing. Dude's got a head tilted to the left, and he like keeps like cracking it every time he like shoots. My neck hurts just looking at him. Oh, good pull into Dragon.
Pressure from the high ground, Matt, and also Glister making Junggu very, very wary. He had him so low that
I duck and I move with my movements, but like having your head at a permanent tilt is not great.
Both supports down now, and they lose Choi, so they're gonna have to back up. You're gonna lose Smurf here too as well. So Happy with a pick, and then I believe it was Juby with another one. So 2 big picks. The Outlaws, they'll get close to taking point A, but you'll most likely see a challenge come out here from the Shock.
I mean, if that isn't an indicator of how volatile these compositions are, then I don't know what is.
Oh, that's such a big pick by Glister. And here's the thing, like, Glister was good when he was put in a position where he was supposed to be good, right?
But he's going to reposition now. Cart very close, being contested.
Like, that's such a big kill under Crimzo. Like, if they had Discord, this would be much harder to contest.
He'll start by pressuring Piggy. Looks like it could be a gravitic flux. He's caught in this.
And Striker gets Happy. Dude, so many things are going wrong for the Outlaws.
Damage in midair taken by Smurf, but Happy loses out to Striker. And here is the responding gravitic flux. Junggu doesn't even get to touch the ground with those 4 feet, as he is brought low by the snipers. In San Francisco, they've found something magic here, Matt. The Outlaws have a minute left to play.
The shot that Glister hit onto Crimzo at the beginning of that fight had to be insane. He just comes jumping around the corner, has no idea where anybody on the Outlaws are, and just kills him in this half a second.
I wonder if Striker doesn't retire if Shock wins this match. This match? Striker's not retired at this point. He's been in for the match. Wait, he's in on this map. I don't understand. Do you mean if Shock wins this match, Striker doesn't retire?
Has to be the man to make the difference, but instead he's riddled with arrows. Striker sends him packing, and again the Outlaws are lacking.
He wouldn't retire? I don't think so.
Now the Shock snipers get to free fire, man. 17 seconds left on the attack.
Yeah, they're trying to set up a pulse bomb combination there, and Striker just turns and hits a shot. The Hanzo will take out the Tracer very quickly.
Amplification matrix on the high.
Good Dragon. Yeah, Shock just cut it. Houston just can't get anywhere, dude. This is a problem.
Custa finds his second from the off angle. Violet goes down, but the Shock have all the pieces that they need.
Dude, look at that shot by Happy.
Violet goes down.
The short grapple into the headshot onto Choi. That was actually nuts.
Proud now as Juby's got no choice but to stand and deliver. Happy finds 2. Can he keep his team alive? Piggy's gonna roll straight on in here, and Smurf is very low. Striker trying to deal with the Piggy now. Is there a chance here for the Outlaws? It was fleeting, a glimmer. They'll try and get Junggu on there and keep the dream alive. Striker dodging away, but most of the defense matrix has already been used. They get Striker. Smurf has no healing. Still no healing available for him. And overtime keeps going. The Outlaws can't touch. Oh no! Off the card.
Let's go. They dump.
Alright, here we go. When in doubt, brawl it out. Sure, this loss got to him, but you just needed to mental reset in general. It's the kind of thing of like, yeah, like I think, as I said, I think the stress of everything just got to Striker, and that's why he retired. Glad to see him come back. You know, it's like it's kind of funny because like players like, especially like Striker's probably biggest weakness is of he's been so successful. Like a lot of these players and like Shock players, they don't know how to lose. Like and like they don't know how to lose like other players. They they've never been on these bad teams. We'll see how Striker does on Boston because that team's probably gonna lose a lot. So we'll see. Maybe he's recovered. Same with Titans players in 2019, yeah. Very important to be able to take an L, yeah. Did Striker go on? Oh my god, bruh. There's just no way. Dude, he jumped. Bro, Violet needs to stop jumping. Someone's gonna unbind the control key from him.
They're gonna have to play close up here. Try and get as many fights in as they can, playing this brawl close to the spawn is. This also allows,
They're playing Bap Ana Brawl? Like, look at how flawed this comp is. They're playing Bap Ana Ryan Orisa Brawl with a Mei Sim. Like, how do you get anywhere?
Listed on the Symmetra, he wants to brawl as well. Looks like the Shock are tech to deal with a really hectic.
They're just hoping they get a massive nade. Oh, big shout out by Django. Oh, that was a big flash. Django didn't die for that. TP? You can't just TP into the opposition though. Like now they're playing Brawl just without a Lucio. Like think about that. They're playing Brawl without a Lucio.
Somebody, playing a little bit too far out because Violet has an Matrix. You have no Maywall to dodge this.
Yep, and that's dangerous now. They have to hide
That window 5-strike was so far away.
Okay, Immortality Field goes down first for the Outlaws here, and yet
that was well played.
Absolute demise for them. Somehow the Shock are able to hold on to theirs till way later in the fight.
Is this the map where Django obliterates Super on Ryan? No, because Super's not in. He obliterates Smurf on Ryan. Like Smurf's Ryan is just nowhere close to Super. Like Smurf's Ryan is just not as good.
This might be your final one with where they're actually going to get this with the card. So they'll have
the shatter to end all shatters.
At the ready. Smurf with a shatter here though could be huge, like a nano shatter.
Super doesn't block a single shatter in this map. That is technically true. Technically true. This is why Super retired.
Immortality Field deployed instantly. That is a huge cooldown to burn so early in the fight, and here come the shots. They know.
Oh, good shatter. Oh, that B was so late by Juby. Did he have it? Oh, he didn't have it.
Instantly. That is a huge cooldown to burn so early in the fight, and here come the Shock. They know the gates are open, and Smurf is the battering ram. Charges straight on through. D-suit here, and this might.
It's actually crazy. Like, because they have the Lucio, they can just keep going and going and going. Oh my god, do they not see? They find Happy. They found Happy as well. Oh god, Happy's dead. That is actually like a game-changing, like this is a match-changing miss flash. He rolls and Glister throws his flash, misses, and then Happy flash fans Glister. And because of that, it's now 5v5. If that doesn't happen, Shock probably just straight wins.
Looks like they're all set up. You might get another touch. You're gonna have Blizzard and his self-destruct. This may not entirely be over.
And Matrix thrown out there. Remember, they don't have Happy right
now. Oh, good mail. Smurf stuck as well.
Get out of the Blizzard, but not enough follow-up there to really.
It's not a lot of damage though. Oh, good. Dude, Piggy should have got hit by that. Violet dies to a fire strike. Oh god. Did Violet jump again? Look at this. Look at this. There's Violet, okay? There's Violet, full health, chilling on the ground. He jumps. And then he gets hit by Happy, and then hit by a fire strike. Bro, he's just gotta stop jumping. Like, he literally is getting killed by jumping. He's just taking so much unnecessary damage.
Smurf is taken down by Piggy, though, and the Outlaws seem to have a little bit of elbow grease here. Juby's removed. Twilight's being pressured by Piggy. The nano missiles don't find their targets. Piggy still wants to hunt down Glister. He's been removed. Trachobin steps up now in Minute Eva form. Very hard to do much. Sleep Dart is nice, but it isn't going to give the win to San Francisco. Not yet.
It's great a demonstration of how quickly you get punished for mistakes in Modern now, yeah.
What I think you really have to worry about if you're the Outlaws is probably this nano.
I'm gonna do the same when I play Bat. Well, it's probably fine in everything that isn't Overwatch League, right? I think Dogman got called for the same thing in like 2020.
Send him on through. Houston, you have this deadline to play around, and you have the end
All right. The window goes down.
He does indeed.
They get Troy mech for that. That's high noon for Diva Bomb? Hell yeah.
I think it's because he demeched him. I think he actually was going to demech him.
There you go.
Good window by Houston. Oh, great wall.
Great place.
Actually, it's not the best wall. Violet! No! You can see it coming from a mile away. Like, you see the crack and you see Django line it up. And you're like, no, Violet. He didn't jump that time. Maybe he should have jumped.
It was a damage boosted fight.
Violet should jump more. I think Violet should jump more.
Shock. They need to go back. They need their Baptiste.
This would be a crazy turn of events.
This is it, man.
Instructions unclear.
No more seconds.
All right, here we go, chat.
The Shock.
Here it comes.
And one fight to repeat the reverse sweep. Going to be 2 blizzards in the fight. I'm looking at those right now. Let's see how they're employed. May the better team win. Jungu's hit with a Bardic Grenade early. That's a very early immortality.
When in doubt, flank it out.
There's a blizzard there.
Woo! Bang!
Oh my God! The Outlaws have done it. We thought they'd be kissing the ring, but they forced the Kings to bend the knee. The plucky upstarts have done it.
There it is. That's when all the San Francisco Shock fans' hopes and dreams shattered.
Was going to be all Shock on that map. All we talked about.
Great call by Mitch. Yeah, absolutely. One of the best.
Was the double sniper. They couldn't get around it. And then on the end,
Super looks disappointed. Yeah, if only Super blocked that shatter. And it's like, it all goes back to what we talked about, right? Earlier on in the series, like when we're going into the series. The Shock are trying to get too cute with too big of a roster, and for that reason, they hurt themselves, right?
from the Outlaws.
Like, that is the big thing. Like, it feels like they're trying too much with too many of their players. And it's funny because Houston Outlaws end up doing the same thing in the season. The teams that generally have the most success, especially in this season, right? Dallas Fuel, Shanghai Dragons, they stick consistent with the same 6 players and they find something that works for those 6 players. Yeah, they might not be perfect at everything, but find something that works for those players that you can alter and find where you can be successful, and then run with it. If you try and play everything with everything on your roster, you're gonna fall short. And that is a lesson that got learned throughout the entire history of Overwatch 1, right? We've gone through this history of Overwatch series for so long now. Think back to 2018 when everyone was making like 9 subs a game, right? We've moved on from that, and it was still surprising to see teams making that mistake in 2021. And I hope it's something that going into Overwatch 2, going into this season of Overwatch League, people have learned from and understand that you're better off having a great 5-player core than you are of having that flexibility by subbing tons of players all the time. And that's what you should take away from this match. It was the moment the Houston Outlaws fans were happy. Don't worry, they weren't happy for very long, but they were happy. And Houston Outlaws actually did have a pretty solid season, and they are looking to have a better season this upcoming season. And this was the beginning of the San Francisco Shock woes. And this is actually one of the big reasons. All these issues that happened is one of the reasons we saw the massive restructuring of the San Francisco Shock heading into this new season. The team is a completely different roster. They have a ton of rookies. And I'm excited to see what the Shock can pull out on the back of Krusty tanking, coaching as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys want to watch these. I think we're going to do 3 more histories of Overwatch until we get to the end. We got the May Melee finals, we got the June Joust finals, and then I think we got the Summer Showdown finals. We're going to skip the Countdown Cup because the Dragons are just super good. So we're going to watch the Gladiators win, we're going to watch the Shanghai Dragons win, and we're going to watch the Dallas Fuel win. So those are the last 3 on the docket. Make sure to stick around, like, and subscribe if you guys want to see those. Overwatch League season is coming soon. We're going to get this history of Overwatch done, and we go into the new games and analyze new games. So thank you very much for watching. Love you all, and I'll see you guys next time.